We've added mixed numbers, we've subtracted mixed numbers. Now we're going to multiply mixed numbers. And good news, I actually think multiplying and dividing them is a lot easier. But I'll let you decide if you feel the same or not. So the first step, if necessary, is to rewrite each mixed number as an improper fraction. Now with adding and subtracting, it really was easiest to just keep them as mixed numbers, to add them and subtract them. But with multiplying and dividing, it is much quicker and easier to work with them as improper fractions. Excuse me. Determine if there are cross products that can be simplified. And I'll explain what cross products are once we do our first example. Once we've done that, we multiply the numerators together. That means multiply the tops together. And we also multiply the denominators. We multiply the bottoms together. So I want to note some key differences here. We do not have to have the same denominator when we're multiplying or dividing. Also, with adding and subtracting, we don't change the denominators when we're adding and subtracting. When we're multiplying and dividing, we do. Step 5 is to reduce if needed. All right, so there's our steps. If you need more time to fill those in, just hit pause. Let's try following the steps here. So number 1, we do need to change these to be improper fractions. So you take the whole number, multiply by the denominator, so 2 times 3 is 6, then add the numerator. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So this is equivalent to 8/3. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Okay, now the cross products they were talking about is you want to look basically at the diagonals. So I want to look at the 3 and the 16 and say, is there anything they have in common that I could cancel out? In this case, they don't. So I checked those. Now I also want to check the 8 and the 5. They don't have anything in common either. So on this one, we actually cannot simplify. There's nothing we can reduce. So we just multiply. We do 8 times 16, which is 128. We do 3 times 5, which is 15. And we have our answer. And I'm just going to say I encourage you to just leave the answer as an improper fraction. If you want to convert it to a mixed number, feel free. I won't count off if you do that, but let's just save ourselves time and effort. Because like I've mentioned, I think in class, in future math classes, you're not going to see a whole lot of mixed numbers. Improper fractions become much more normal. Okay, on this one, when there's a negative sign, just transfer the negative. We still would just say 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So negative 1.5 is the same as negative 3/2. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Okay, so good. On this one, we will see some cross products that can be simplified or reduced. So we look here at 2 and 10. They're both even. So I can divide this 2 by 2, divide this 10 by 2. Look at these cross products. They're identical. So I can just divide them both by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I've now made the problem a whole lot easier by simplifying the cross products. I have negative 1 times 5 on top and 1 times 1 on the bottom. And I mean, you can leave the answer like this, but the better way to write it is just to say negative 5. Okay, number 3, we don't have to change anything to an improper fraction because no mixed numbers appear. So we can move directly to looking for cross products. So there's nothing that 2 and 3 have in common, nothing we can do there. But 7 and 14 have 7 in common. So 14 divided by 7 is 2. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. I want to show you that if you don't do the cross products, you can still get the correct answer. It's just going to take a lot more work and more effort to reduce in the end. So if you look at this, remember the original was 7 over 2 times 3 over 14. So again, I'm just showing you that if you don't do the cross products, you can get the right answer, but it'll take more effort. 7 times 3 is 21. 2 times 14 is 28. And as we look at these, we can reduce because they're both divisible by 7. 21 divided by 7 is 3. 28 divided by 7 is 4. So you can see we get the same answer either way. And depending on the problem, it may or may not be a whole lot more complicated either way, but getting rid of the cross products almost always helps. Okay, this one, we already have this in the form it needs to be, but we need to rewrite this as an improper fraction. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Okay, the 5 and 2 have nothing in common, but 3 and 9 are both divisible by 3, so I divide this by 3 and get 1. Divide this by 3 and get 3. So I multiply the tops, negative 5 times 3. Multiply the bottoms, 1 times 2. Okay, 5 is already in the form we want it to be. There's no mixed numbers. So we look for some cross products to simplify. 5 and 10 we can simplify. Divide them both by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And 4 and 3 won't reduce at all. So I get 4 times 2 on top, that's 8. I get 1 times negative 3 on the bottom, and I get negative 3. And just a reminder, with fractions, it doesn't matter where you put the negative. So this answer is correct, that answer is correct, or it could be written this way where it's just kind of out in front between all of them. So all three of these are identical to each other. It does not matter where you write the negative sign. Okay, number 6. These are both mixed numbers. We've got to convert them to improper fractions. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Okay, so no cross products on this one. There's nothing that 5 and 11 have in common, other than 1, of course. Nothing that 13 and 2 have in common. So we multiply 11 times 13. Okay, 143. So 143 on top. 5 times 2 is 10. So we get 143 over 10. Okay, so now we do have to change this to an improper fraction. 9 times 10 is 90, plus 9 is 99. And I'm going to change this to be a fraction just by writing it as negative 8 over 1. So we look for cross products. Well, 1 and 99 obviously don't have anything to cancel out, but negative 8 and 10 are both even, so I can divide them by 2. Okay, so I have 99 times negative 4. So that's going to be negative 396. One way you can do that in your head is 99 is close to 100. So you just say 4 times 100. That's 400. But that's 1 less than 100 4 times. So it's 4 less than 400. And 5 times 1 is 5. Number 8. Change this to an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Okay, so 1 and 3 do not have anything in common, but 2 and 5, we can divide them both by 2. So we have 1 times 5 on top, 1 times 3 on the bottom. Okay, as much fun as all this is down on 9 and 10, I'll do the multiplication because it's good practice, but I'm not going to worry about addition because we've got whole other lessons where we worried about that. I was just being very ambitious here. But we'll do just the multiplication part, so we'll ignore this for now. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. So 4 and 17 have nothing in common, but we can divide 25 and 5 by 5. 5 times 17 is 85. 4 times 1 is 4. So without doing the addition part, which I'm not going to worry about, just the multiplication, we get 85 times 4. Okay, number 10, I'm going to do the same thing again, just focus on multiplication. We won't worry about the subtraction. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 7 is 27. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So we've got lots we can cancel out here. So 10 and 14 are both even, so I'll divide them both by 2. 3 and 7 are both divisible by 3, so I'll divide them both by 3. Then we get 7 times 9 is 63. 5 times 1 is 5. Last one. Allison needs to make curtains for the window in her classroom. She first needs to find the area of the window before she purchases fabric. The window measures 12.5 feet by 6 1/5 feet. So what is the area of the window? So if you think about the window, I'm guessing it's 12.5 feet wide and 6 1/5 feet tall. Doesn't really matter which one we put which place, but I'm just guessing. And the area of a rectangle is length times width, or base times height, whichever you want to say it. So the point is we have to multiply these two numbers together. So 12.5 times 6 1/5. So we use the same rules we have before, same steps, to convert them into improper fractions. 12 times 2 is 24, plus 1 is 25. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31. Okay, we can't do anything with the cross product of 2 and 31, but 5 and 25 are both divisible by 5. 5 times 31 is 155. 2 times 5, oh sorry, this should be a 1, because we divided that by 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Now, if you left this as an answer, I'm not going to count off, but just practically speaking, this is one where a mixed number would make more sense because it's less likely you're going to be able to go to a store and figure out, oh, I need 155 over 2 square feet. So 2 goes into 15 7 times, have a remainder of 1. 2 goes into the other 15 7 times, remainder of 1. So it'd be 77.5 square feet. Because basically 2 goes into 155 77 times with a remainder of 1. So 2 goes into 15 7 times. 2 goes into 15 7 times. And then the remainder is 1. So that's how we get 77.5 square feet. Again, I wouldn't take off any points on a test or quiz if you gave me this answer. But practically speaking, in this word problem, the mixed number is the better answer.